now we're looking at about 12 over on Instagram, and about the same here on Twitch.
Sure.
So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and start things off until we get some questions popping up here. And what I'll do is I'll ask Kenny Palco a question or two regarding the convention that's coming up in October. And my first question to Mr. Palcow would be, what do you see as being different from Tombstone Redemption 1 to Tombstone Redemption 2?
Hmm. You know, that's a tough question. Well, every time the event's new. It's going to be its third year. Um, they say like any business, you got 3 to 5 years before it's really established. So as I'm moving along, I'm creating as I go, right? So you never really had any kind of event like this before. So trying to come up with ideas that would, appeal to the different fans of this game. That was my first challenge, and trying to make it very immersive experience with the first event. Kind of theme park related, kind of that give that theme park vibe where give the fans an entire city as their playground, so to speak, versus a big metal box that, you go to a typical convention like San Diego or Dragon Con or New York City Comic Con, one of them. And the first event, for the majority of it was free. And you that obstacle was trying to come up with funding from sponsors and things like that. And and that had its pitfalls and a lot of complications and things like that. And I ran it through a nonprofit that I belong to, and because I had every intention, donate the money back into the city to help the different things: fire department, marshal's office, no kill animal shelter, senior center, all that. So I didn't want to have to put it through all the funds directly through my company, because I just have to pay my lawyer to have and my accountant to deal with it. So I used the nonprofits services. So here we go to second event, and again, you learn from the first or the previous event. You keep trying to build, and you keep trying to mitigate, and things that happened from the previous event. How do we make it
Right.
better? How do we mitigate? I think my biggest obstacle, and it still is how do you mitigate lines? And so you keep trying different things, um, and you learn from them. So the second event, I had to monetize it because, one, I'm taking it across, states, and these people in Deadwood don't know me, so I can't go to merchants. I can't go to all these different people, say, hey, give me, help me with this money. Give me this money. It's going to cost this, going to cost that. They don't know me. They don't know the event, just like Tombstone. They didn't know the event, and what to expect. So that challenge of monetizing it was basically me starting over again, because where an event was free, now it's got to have ticket sales to pay the bills. Um, the the biggest, I guess, obstacle now is keep adding to the event, and um, be creative with it, that we're still staying within the Red Dead theme, that we're still appealing to the fans, and that we're giving them more things, or showing them more for, they're getting more for their value. Show them the value is what I'm trying to say. And that could be very difficult because everything that I add or want to do, it there's, it's just it's nature of the beast. It costs money to do things.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to be very competitive. So a big obstacle is trying to top what I've done the first two times. Now, I will promise you that this event will be more than what the first two had combined. That's done. It's that aspect of it's already done. Um, but with that, it added more money, more logistics to it, and so there was a lot of obstacles on how to learn again, yet again for a third event. You know, I got the basic blueprint, but each time I've added or changed things to try and mitigate things that I've learned from before. It's like setting a whole new set of rules, and you got to learn all over again to see if this formula works. And I think that's probably, the main difference between the events, the biggest, whatever you want to call it, hurdles or obstacles, the differences. But um, yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. So one thing's for sure. One of the issues that you had in Deadwood is the lines, and
Yeah.
I understand that the people waited patiently. They were dedicated fans, is what they
Mhm.
were, and I think that they're going to be able to move through these lines quicker this year. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah. I want to make a statement about lines. I, from day one, the fans have been my number one priority. I am a fan. What I do for a living, I look from both sides of the fence, I see it from the final product when I watch something on the big screen,
Right.
but I'm also seeing it firsthand as we're making it or working on it. The fans, um, the fans truly have been my number one priority, and I'm very guarding about protecting them, meaning I see these guys waiting for 9 hours, 11 hours,
Right.
and believe me, I see it. And, you know, I can't, there's nothing I can say to make it better. It's just, it's lines. But I will say that I'm very protective of others being respectful of that line. And I'm trying to find ways of making sure that I've learned from the last event and the event before that, that we could make it that much better. And I
I think
think
that's
I've,
all anybody can ask. I
yeah.
think that's all that anybody can ask.
So
Now,
we,
I wanted to make mention of something that you mentioned earlier, and that was that everything is getting bigger and bigger and
yeah,
bigger, and that's great. I see that this particular convention in October is going to be much bigger than either one of the previous two, and people just have to realize that if you get a bigger bang, then it's going to cost a little bit more. But at least one thing is for certain: you're going to get a bigger bang for your buck. At
yeah.
least that's what I'm seeing occurring, and particularly with all that you've got that's on the schedule to occur.
No,
One of
that's
the things
another,
that Go
let me
ahead.
interject real quick, Warren. That's another part of this big obstacle I got to overcome is um, the scheduling, making it so that there's repetitive shows. So if you're in line, you still could see that show. It's because it's going to happen again. Um, a lot of the things that are going on, I have to be mindful. It's wrapped around a line for people going to get autographs. So I have, so that's another challenging aspect of this event.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, listen, this being the third year of this convention, Redemption, what has been the most difficult aspect of putting all of this together for you?
Um, well, I think there's so much stuff that's been difficult to and is so challenging. I think forming relationships with other companies or performers and things like that, um, and making them a staple in the event. You know, Joey Dillon, Luke Rollins, they're a permanent staple in the event. Um, and working with other vendors that I want to be a staple in the event. Um, the CEO of SAS, the Single Action Shooter Society, Misty, she's a friend of mine, and she loves what I'm doing, and she became, I want to say a partner in this. I mean, she is a sponsor to kind of like what a vendor would, does.
Right.
But I've made her a staple in the event because um, of what SAS does with the younger, and well, not just the younger community, everybody, and she wants to see, try and appeal to the younger generation as well, like I am, with using this game, and I mean, she's got that cowboy action stuff going on, and we have discussed numerous times how to, what I want her to do to tailor her thing to this event for the fans of this game. But I think building relationships, has been very challenging. And, case in point is, you know, we as Americans, it's not hard to, recognize the sensitivity of certain things that's part of our history, like the cavalry and the Native Americans, what happened over the years and
Sure.
decades, So there's a lot of tension, a lot of sensitivity, a lot of really sore spots that you got to be very delicate in communicating and building relationships because this stuff's still ongoing, whether it's internal between different tribal nations or between the United States and so I'm asking these different tribes to come to an event that's based on a gang from an outlaw bunch of outlaws from a Western video game, and you know it's surprisingly they were wonderful, and we've been continuously having regular meetings every week and every other week,
Right.
discussing what I want from them and what they want from me, and so that has been where my focus has been because I'm bringing them in pretty hardcore because the first two events I really wanted them, and I didn't really do what I set out to do up here. You can have all these thoughts,
Right.
but then you look at the budget and you're like, I just can't do it. And this year I've made it a very, very uh, huge focus is the Native American presence. So building these relationships with all these new people, and that's the best way I can answer that question.
Well, I certainly know that the intensity of three is going to be really intense. I'll tell you what, I'm just biting at the bit to have it come to fruition and actually be there and be part of it. Speaking of that, we do know that you've got plans for the future. What is your long-term aspirations is regarding this type of event for yourself?
Well, the event itself is the I guess the generic vision I always had was building a modern day Buffalo Bill Wild West show
Gotcha.
and trying to find a way to preserve history because I love history and and so I figured, well, what better way to go after a younger audience by using this video game. I mean, it just so happens one of the biggest video games on the planet's a Western. And
74 million copies sold right now.
yeah, and then to turn around and I live in Tombstone, and they've been living off of a 1993 Tombstone movie long enough, and I look at our numbers as far as our economy is solely tourism, and I
Right.
look at our numbers, and they're declining, and so trying to find something new to bring life back into Western history and culture, and that's that's what I'm doing. So this year, involving the Native Americans and bringing that element into this event will add to that whole Buffalo Bill Wild West show. That's the ultimate thing, is this big, flashy, immersive experience that fans can relate to the game. They could see these little things out of the corner of their eyes that make them think of certain parts of the game, certain missions, or whatever
Right.
they've encountered along their journey during their gameplay. And yeah.
Now, do you see the name of your organization changing in the future as a lot of these different events come in that aren't specifically related to Red Dead Redemption, but yet still is part of the Western genre?
Well, my company name, obviously, has served me for almost 32 years now. And, times are changing. So I'm looking at what I'm going to do next with my life. And I think ultimately I'd probably come up with a new brand for an LLC that encompasses these types of events.
Right.
Kenny's Custom Props doesn't make sense with events.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
so there's that. But for now, I mean, the event's still under my LLC, and as far as an event name, I think Redemption is going to be a part of it. It's just I want it to be very flexible as well, so that we go to Deadwood, it's Black Hills Redemption, or if we go, or whatever, but also something that people know is
Can relate to.
relate to, but
Sure.
without crossing certain lines that I don't want to, upset Rockstar or Take Two Interaction by using, blatant names from their what they own. So that's another challenging thing, is creating things where I'm not overstepping, but fans can see the relationship,
Sure.
and they have an event they can call their own, as this experience
Okay, One-Eyed
for them.
Jack, for example, is watching, and he made a comment that says, "The more of these events that happen, the bigger they will get, and the better." And that's what we're all, I think, looking forward to. Because take, for example, myself. I'll be driving about 2,000 miles to get out that way,
Mm.
and that's 2,000 miles back. And so I am looking for a big bang, and I'm sure I'm going to get it this year. Now, I was thrilled to death last year being out in Deadwood. But this year, I think it's going to be even better. And
Yeah.
I'm certainly looking forward to that. Now, where do you stand right now with any kind of new uh, new information that you can supply to the people that are watching and listening?
Yeah. So we've got the pricing set now. I had several meetings with the Arizona State Parks rangers. And I think the last time we spoke, I mentioned about a Monster Ball Bash, but I didn't say where
Yes.
it was going to be. So it is going to be at Tombstone's uh, uh, original courthouse that was made in 1882. It is now a museum it's a state historical park, and it's run by the Arizona State Parks and Trails. Um, and so this is the first time that they have allowed something like this to happen in this building, in speaking in general as well. And so there was a lot of communication back and forth to try and make sure that we were clear as to what we can and can't do. And just so happens a lot of these guys that are park rangers are young people, and they know the game, and they saw what happened the last time I had the event here. And so it wasn't too hard. I think when I first wrote the main formal letter after several meetings with them to for them to submit to the state. It got approved within an hour and a half. Like it was like green light. It was a green light, and then then the formalities of, the actual finalized paperwork. The everything from how much, a couple $1 million in insurance and this and that, and having
Sure.
the, Arizona Rangers there and this and that, and then constantly going back and forth what we could do. I've walked that building several times with them. Like today, I think we walked it. I spent 3.5, 4 hours with them walking the entire building, what I can and can't do. So I can talk about that, so what we're going to do for the Monster Ball Bash. And this
Monster
is
Ball Bash. Yes, sir.
Monster Ball Bash. So, um, right at this point, I think 90, I think I'm waiting on one more actor to see if they would like to join us. Um, and yeah, I should hear from her in any time now. But everyone else is coming. So you're going to have currently all the, with the exception of waiting on one person to see what they, if they want to attend or not.
Okay.
We've got all our actors coming for this meet and greet. So it's a Monster Ball Bash meet and greet. Um, and I'll just tell you what we're going to do with the building first. So the people can go online. They can look at the original Tombstone courthouse, made in 1882. And it's a beautiful building. It's Victorian, and it will play the part. The event will be Friday, Halloween.
Yes, sir.
It will start at 6 o'clock, and we're going to start ringing the bell. Hey, let's wrap this up around 10 p.m. So that's 4 hours of mingling, not just mingling. I got other things planned. So we've got those times locked in. And then the outside of the building, I've been authorized that I can put all these red lights in all the windows of the building
Red
and light it up at
Dead.
night. We're gonna tone the building red. Yeah. So the event will be catered with dinner food, not finger food, not buffet. It's going to be dinner food.
Gotcha.
So those that will be attending will have dinner as well. We're going to limit it to 250 people. Um, I've got a special guest coming. I don't know if we talked about this the last time, but I have one of the gentlemen that scored the music for the games, Bill Elm, is coming, and he will be DJing tonight with Red Dead music and Undead Nightmare music to give us the mood, the element of, just give us that ambiance,
Sure.
the mood, setting the mood. Not too loud, but not too low, just enough that people can mingle, talk, and still hear the music. Um, I'm going to have one or two Faro tables going where they're going to be demonstrating Faro. So as you're mingling and walking around, there's 2 floors to this building. You'll be able to check out a demonstration as to how Faro was played, how the house cheated, and some of the other things about this Faro. Um, we're also going to have a scavenger hunt and with prizes. So how the scavenger hunt's going to work is, um, the Parks Department today asked me if they could do the questions for the scavenger hunt because they love that. They're bringing in rangers from different parts of the Arizona, and they're going to be throughout the courthouse so that you can talk to them. They're going to answer questions.
Okay.
So you're gonna come in. You're gonna get this uh, I guess, scavenger hunt questions. And now the courthouse is a museum. So you're going to see artifacts in there from Wyatt Earp. I believe we have one of his, I know we have one of his pocket watches. We've got original letters from Josephine to him. Um, and those are still on display. They will be on display when you get there. We got all these different wonderful things, and they all have little history plaques. So you'll have questions, and you'll go around the you if you plan to partake. It's you don't have to pay anything extra. You get these questions. You go around throughout the night, and you find the answers. So you're going to learn some history, preserve
Oh,
history by making a physical connection to this game. You're
yep,
going to learn some history, and everyone that got the answers right on the sheet at the bottom, there's a ticket. We rip it off. We put it in a bowl, and we're gonna pull at the end of the night. We're gonna pull the prizes. I'm looking at the new PS5 Pro system, fully uh, you know customized for the themed for the event and fully autographed by the attending cast. So that's going to be one main prize. I'm going to have a couple of Nintendo Switch Pro, the twos, the newer
yeah,
models. That everybody's selling on eBay for $1,200 now.
yeah.
Um, Trying to track them down, and then we're going to have a couple other prizes. So we'll just keep picking the first, say 5 winners or whatever, and we give out these prizes. Um, let's see. Um, It is a costume event, so you have to be in costume. That's the whole point of the Monster Ball Bash, You
Absolutely.
got to be, you know.
Undead
Um,
Nightmare.
there you
Outlaws
go.
Afterlife.
There you go. Um, so the actors will be throughout the building, and we want everybody to be spread out. We want them to enjoy themselves and mingle and talk. And this is where fans get to talk with the actors. This is where the 20-minute or half-hour discussions are okay. So we're going to try and give as many people as we can an opportunity to do that. And we've got 2 floors. Now, speaking of that, this is an old building. It is original, 1882. There's really no major renovations. In fact, they are just now, starting renovations of putting in air conditioning because it didn't have
Right.
it. It never did. So that will be done by the time this event happens. Um, there is ADA problems. The building is an 1800s building, 1882. There is no elevator in this, so if people are they're wheelchair disabled, that could be a problem somewhat. So outside, they have a ramp they're putting in or working on. That will get a wheelchair up to the first floor. Once you're in that building, that's as far as you can go. You can go on the first floor. The second floor, there is the original spiral staircase, and
Okay.
it's got narrow stairs, but it goes up to the second floor, and that's where the courtroom is. That's where some of the other rooms are for displays and stuff. It's probably got the same amount of square footage as it on the first floor. It's just the whole building's a museum, but if you come and you're in a wheelchair, I just want to make that clear, and I'm going to have to make that clear when people buying tickets. This building, it's not going to get rid. It's a historical building. They're not going to put an elevator in it.
Sure.
Um, so that's the only thing. But ADA into, I think it's ADA, into the first floor, yes. Second floor, we don't have any means. If you have a cane, um, listen, I'm going to have Rangers there, Arizona Rangers. If you have a cane and you need someone to help you get up and down them stairs, just ask one of us. We'll be more than happy to get you up the
I'm
stairs and down the
sure
stairs.
any of us will. Yep.
Anybody will, yeah.
Sure.
So I just want to make that clear about that. Now, uh, this brings up, let's see, this brings up another. All right, so the catered food that's going to be a part of the event, of this part of the event. There's no food or water allowed in the building for the general public. So we're going to have it catered in the gallows courtyard where literally the gallows there, you look up and you'll see the nooses and stuff. They're
Now,
there.
hopefully it's not our last meal.
Yeah. So, so we're going to have it in the courtyard because it's outside. So, and that will be catered. And I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to put out there as far as period tents so that you have a place to sit down and eat.
Gotcha.
Um, the actors during eating, they will have other rooms available to them for their privacy while they're eating, but during the event, during that whole time, they're going to be around, walking around, mingling with you guys. We will have park rangers. We will have a bunch of Arizona Rangers in there. And there is something else I want to bring up about that, and that is that we got to go back to this gun policy. Now, some of these buildings, like this particular building, the state of Arizona does not allow firearms of any kind, including fake weapons, in the building. I managed to make an agreement with them that the cosplayers that you guys have gun belts on and guns, if I have to have them inspected at the door and they're going to tag them and they will allow you to go into the building with them. You will not be allowed to brandish any of them in the building, but we will give you a designated area where they have we'll have photos set up, have wanted poster frame where you put the wanted poster frame in front of your face and there's a backdrop. We'll make it so that that area you can pose with your, fake guns and stuff. And that's a compromise I made with the state. And there's zero policy, zero tolerance. If you're in one of the other rooms and you pull it out and you start twirling it, they're going to boot you. I
Yep.
had to agree to that. And that is, otherwise nobody brings anything in. And I told them, I said, well, this is kind of a Western themed cosplayers. Um,
Sure.
I
Well,
gotta,
and listen, after all, I mean, it is a Western genre. So,
yeah.
yeah, they're going to have some of those there.
And they can at any time, if you've got a trench coat on and it's covering it, they can at any time ask you, let me see the tag, and you
Yep.
have
Yep.
to show it to them. Again, this is a historical state, it's a state park literally, and they do not allow firearms in the building or
Gotcha.
replicas. So they're bending over a little bit for us. They're bending, they're compromising. um Let me see what else. I think that's it for the Monster Ball Bash. Um, uh, uh, yeah,
Uh,
that's it for the Monster Ball Bash.
well, let me just read a couple of comments, Kenny, regarding all of this up to
Yeah,
this
go
point.
ahead.
It says, Kathleen Colson says, staff included in the Monster Ball, question mark, which I keep wanting to call the Monster Mash.
Um, all right. So we are working on we're working on the staff part of things because the fire marshal has to get in there to do the inspection to see the whole number. This way, I know what the final number is going to be allowed. That, so if I've got 15 handlers and Kathleen Colson, why does that sound familiar? Is that Kate?
Could very well be. She doesn't list herself as Kate. It's Catherine. Uh,
Yeah, I think that,
Catherine Colson.
yeah, it sounds like Kate. I think she was one of my handlers. I think that's the same one we talked about the last time.
Okay.
So the uh I'm shooting to get the handlers in there that they're with the actors. Um, and some of the other staff that doesn't have to be down at the arena and stuff. Um, but yes, but the final number I just can't allow. Like I can't allow the entire staff in that whole night. The event's not a workable night. It's kind of like um, it's like a casual thing. And this is another thing I want to bring up. When you're in there, this isn't where you ask for autographs. This isn't where you're asking for free photos. And I'm going to make that clear because they they charge for that. So we're not going to, I don't want people asking them, I don't think it's appropriate. This is casual for them. They don't have to be there. They
Yeah,
understand the significance of their fans. I asked them if they would come. I didn't tell them they had to. It's not in their contract. I want to make that clear. So I don't want people nagging them. Hey, can I get your autograph? Can I exchange emails? Can I, you
sure.
know, can I get a photo with you? That's not the
It's
place.
just as it says, a meet and greet,
Hmm.
nothing more. Meet and greet. The chit chat
Chit
evening.
chat evening, and um, yeah, they're aware of what it is, and it's a casual. Let's just have fun, enjoy the scavenger hunt, win some prizes, enjoy the food. It's part of it, and just you're allowed to take photos and video. Be respectful too. That's the big thing. That's the other thing the ranger said. It is a museum, but it's also a place where people were put to death. Be respectful. No screwing
Amen.
around on the gallows or climbing up on there or creating these inappropriate things. Don't do that. But just remember, I mean, people did, they were hung there,
Uh,
So,
by the way, Catherine Colson says, yes, it is me.
yeah, I thought so.
So
So,
there you have it.
so
Listen,
yes, yes. I don't want to say positive, but I could say pretty close that yeah, the handlers will be there. Um, I just need to wait until the fire marshal's done to have some kind of exact number.
that's cool. That's very cool. I'm looking back at some of the other comments that were made, and you've got, for example, Catherine Colson says Midwest Redemption in 2026? Question mark. One-eyed Jack says the more of these events happen, the bigger that they will get. The Matt Walton says Deadwood
Oh,
was magic. One-eyed Jack
hey,
says definitely going to be worth it.
hey,
I went to the first one and it was fun, but from the sound of the upcoming event, gonna be awesome.
M-
One
Matt
Eye Jack
Walton.
also says, "Heck yeah!"
Yeah, I can, hey Matt, if he's still on, I can't see comments on this. Warren can. Matt's the other one. I think he answered me in an email. He's another one I can almost say I shouldn't say anything, but he is invited to come and hopefully he says yes because Matt's a hoot, man. He's really cool to be around, but if he doesn't, that's fine because that's his free time to do whatever he wants. So,
Okay, Minnie Ann is watching. Hugh Chavans is also watching. Let's see. Katie says, really nice. That's awesome. That pretty much brings us up to date. If
okay.
anybody has any questions, pop it up on the screen and we'll ask Kenny Palkow about that and see where it takes place from there. Um, any other information that you can add that you didn't release on the last live that it can
So
bring everybody
yeah,
up to date?
yeah. So um, we are trying to, like, I'm building the map. Like I had the first time around, I had this map. Deadwood, I had a small map. Wasn't like Tombstone's first map, but I'm gonna do this map so it outlines where everything is. It's gonna look like the map from the video game, and we're trying to one. I'm trying to I guess reiterate again that I'm bringing a lot of the Native American culture and regalia and their history and to this event. And the reason why we need it is not just for the Red Dead fans, it's the locals here in Cochise County. We really don't have a lot of promoting of Native American festivals and things like that in Cochise County. And, you know, we've got Tombstone the movie. We've got a 30-second gunfight that set a tone for how people look at this town since
Right.
since the 1800s. But the thing is, it was 30 seconds. That's it. The Earps weren't here that long. You know who was here? The Apache, the Comanche, the Navajo,
Sure.
the Yaqui. They were all here, and there's so much rich history with them alone. So it would be insulting not to try and bring them in on this. And I went to him and I asked him, I really want you to be a part of this. And I don't want just one tribe coming out and performing. I want as many as I can get. And so we got these, I think, 9 different tribes.
That's
They're
awesome.
all, we've got flute players, drum players, we've got hoop dancers, we've got all of these tribes doing different kinds of dances and stuff throughout the day and for Saturday and Sunday. And so we've got these huge tents, as I explained the last time. The ones, 2 of them are like 26 feet in diameter or something. I mean, these are big tents, or excuse me, teepees. And then so we've got our tents on the other side. So here's what we came up with. Uh, right here. So there's this symbol called the medicine wheel. And basically, this medicine wheel is a symbol of a lot of the Native American cultures. And they have a saying, that kind of that goes along with that. It kind of represents we're all related. Didn't matter what color our skin is and stuff. We're all related. So I'm positioning the teepees and the tents in a circle. All right. So we're going to have the teepees on this side, face the openings facing east. Then we're going to have tents on this side, the Civil War period looking tents, and they're going to be in a circle. And then the center is going to be a fire pit, and then there's going to be 4, I guess, legs branching out that from the air looking down gives that medicine wheel look that represents that. So we are on the map. We are calling that, and you got to forgive my pronunciation, but it's Mitakuye Oyasim Fire Circle. And what that means is it's a unity thing. We're bringing everybody together, and the whole point of that has another hidden message is that I want to go back to the original mission statement of this event. And for those of you that don't know what it is, I pinned it at the top on Instagram,
Okay.
and I ask you to read that, and you'll see what this event's about. And so that circle, that fire circle, we're going to have an opening ceremony where the Native Americans, we're going to light it, we're going to get it going, and it's going to be an eternal flame, so it'll run all weekend long, nonstop, and then
Awesome.
yep. And every night we will have a tribal leader give a story, doing story time. So they're gonna have blankets there that you can buy that are colorful blankets because we're gonna be sitting around the fire. Those that want to hear the story will sit around the fire, and
On
this
the
is
ground.
it's a huge opening, a huge
Yeah.
open area. Oh yeah, on the ground with these blankets. And we're going to have these tribal leaders give you story time as storytelling. And I've told them, don't candy coat, don't, I want the truth,
Say
tell the truth.
it like it is.
Say it like it is. You don't have to get graphic, but say it like it is, because the whole point is I want the fans to take away some history. I want the fans to know that what was going on down here, what happened, this and that. And so you're going to hear some really beautiful stories. Um, and that is one aspect that you'll see. We've got a ton of original Native American vendors. They're all legit jewelry and art that'll be there for sale,
Okay.
along with other vendors. Um, and they're going to have like different things going on. They're going to show you, herbal medicine and different traditions they've had.
Right.
They'll have that going on, and they're going to have artifacts on display for you to see, and so much more. And that's just some of their thing. And then Saturday we talked about this. They're going to have a parade, and it's going to have all the tribes in the regalia on Allen Street in Tombstone down the main road,
Beautiful.
and they've invited all the cosplayers to participate in that. And the only thing that we will not allow, and we have to, is we have to respect history for what it is, and we have to respect certain things that have happened that are sensitive, like we don't want people dressed as a buffalo soldier or soldier at the event. So we can't have that. We'll politely ask you to change your costume, or we can't let you in the area, because these are some of the things that I've agreed to with the tribes that are still sensitive to this day.
Sure, and it's
So
good for the whole.
yeah, so we want to be respectful. I mean, they're there for you. They're putting on these performances and stuff, and we just don't want to go down certain roads. And let's see. So they want you in the parade. They want everybody in that parade,
Beautiful.
and which would be cool.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Ken, there is a question here that comes in from One-Eyed Jacks. He says, when it comes to tickets, do we have to buy a ticket for each day of the 3 days?
Okay. So I guess we can go right into the ticket sales now. As part of your question from earlier, as to some of the obstacles or what I found challenging, is every time you add something, it increases the cost. I know what I can and can't do based on the previous two events, but if you don't push it and you don't build on it and you don't keep giving the fans more and more to show them the value, um, it just becomes more of the same every year. So trying to mitigate, and I've learned things from the first event. I learned a lot of things from the second event.
Right.
So to mitigate a lot of that stuff, um, you know, things that I've learned, for instance, VIP or general admission. You think about, you've got all your bases covered. Then there's these loopholes that show up, and other people find those loopholes, and the next thing you know, you gotta figure out, how do I get around that? Well, we got to get rid of VIP. We got to do this instead. So it's learning over again and trying to figure out what works. So here's what we're gonna do. There is no VIP. There's a general admission pass, period. The general admission pass is $100. It's all 3 days included. But what it does do, that you kind of, there was only so much in Deadwood, is you're getting full access to the autograph sessions. You're getting full access to the arena, and all of the grounds. You're getting access to the vendors. You get access to all the shows, performances from the Native Americans, performances from Joey Dillon, performances from Luke Rollins, performances from Anthony DeLongis, who is actually the marshal in the game, Marshall Johnson.
Marshall
People
Johnson,
don't know this.
Armadillo.
I said this the last time. Anthony taught Harrison Ford how to use the bullwhip. He taught Michelle Pfeiffer how to use the bullwhip for Batman, as Catwoman. And he's going to be doing his thing with bullwhips and Bowie knife throwing. And so you have access to all of that. You have access to the story time. You have access to everything that's going down on that on those grounds and up on the autograph area, you have all that. So that's what the $100 gets you. However, there are people that are going to say, well, I don't want to wait in line. Okay, so here's what we're doing. I remember somebody saying capping VIP passes to a certain amount. Well, my first year monetizing the event, I don't know how many people do I cap it to? 100, 200? How many? Tombstone had almost nearly 10,000 people, so it's like, where do you cap it? So I decided, you know what? I'm going to make it very small. It's 100 people per day for 3 days. So in addition to the $100 ticket, if you don't want to wait in line, if you want to try and kind of cut that time down, we're going to have a deputy early pass or early access. 100 people will be able to buy these additions. First 50, it's going to be at $50. The next 50 is going to be at $75. That's in addition to your ticket. That's 2 hours earlier than in the autograph areas for that 2 hour period. That's what we're doing.
Sure.
I think 100 people in a 2 hour period with my wrap it up box allowing 3 minutes per actor should move that line fast. Um, and that's what I'm doing. That's only good for the day you buy it for, though. The main ticket's good for all 3 days. You get that for 3 days. But for the autograph area, if you want, say you come in on Friday, you want to stand in that line Friday, you want to get in early, 100 tickets or 100 editions, first 50, $50, second 50, $75. And I think that is the best way I can give some people the ability to fast track without complicating things. Now, once you're in there, you're not coming out and you're not going to be allowed to cut back into the back of that 100 people line. You're in there, you get what you got, you're out, you're done. That's it. In this way, we mitigate people were coming out and going back to the back of the VIP line, which butts with the general admission line. Well, at the end of almost 2 hours, they keep cutting back here. They keep doing this to the general admission
Yeah,
line. Well,
sure.
I didn't think of that because why would I think of that? It's like you got to think of all these things of what could happen. So I think this is the
Understand.
best way to handle it. I think it's fair. I think $100 is extremely fair considering what all you're getting and what all we're adding to this event this year. And if you look at something like any other kind of event, convention, you're paying $60 to $80 per day on some of these. I mean, I don't want to compare it to San Diego, but San Diego's like $80 a day, or a 4 day pass is like 340
Yeah.
bucks or something like that. And that doesn't include like there's certain things it doesn't include. I think it does get you into the panels and stuff, though. I'm not positive on that, but it's just kind of telling you. I think the price is very, very, very fair.
Now, this is going to
Um,
be 100 people for Friday, 100 people for Saturday, 100 people for Sunday.
yeah.
And that's going to, so technically speaking, it's 300 people accumulative.
Yep. But
Okay,
it's like they buy the ticket for Friday, they can't use it Saturday and Sunday.
gotcha.
So, and to we'll work with people, but it's like we're not staffed to where people can say, "Hey, I bought this ticket for Friday. I know it's Sunday, but we didn't go Friday. Can I use it?" I don't want to get into that accommodation. If you buy a ticket for Friday,
It's for Friday.
try and make it. It's Friday.
Yeah, it's
Panel
Friday.
tickets. We're doing three panels. Um, and thank you, Warren, for saying the third panel is okay, because I know that helps more people have another opportunity to see these actors. So
Sure.
panels are $50 per person. Um, have to do it because there's costs associated with that alone. And one day I'm hoping that we can be an all-inclusive ticket once we get to a point where we work out these all of these additional things, and we're still, but like, I'm buying more tents, I'm buying more stuff that we have,
Sure. And
you
know what the
know.
true costs are going to be.
Yeah. The what I am doing is, I understand there will be families there. I can't do better than this, at least for this event, but kids that are 5 and under are free with a paid adult. The reason why I can't say 12 and 13 is because there's a great deal of kids that, you know, that it's a video game. It's based on a video game. And that's probably a good part of my market, that age brackets in there. And this isn't like some of these other events, but 5 and under I think is fair. So if you got a parent that's got a younger child, but they got an older kid, they can still bring the kids, and just so long as one of them, you know, um, they're with a paid adult. Um, Monster Ball Bash. This is going to be a very limited number of people. It's $225. That includes everything I mentioned, including the food. And that will be Friday, Halloween, 6 to 10.
Gotcha.
Uh, 10 kind of being, it could linger on a little longer, depends. But that also includes, having all the actors there, having Bill Elm there to perform, having the music, keeping the music going. And I think that covers the tickets. Now, we are not doing badges this year. Only staff will have badges. We had a couple incidences I had to mitigate. People were taking badges off and swapping badges, so we're going to do away with that. Plus there, I had a couple of times where the machine was breaking down and I had to emergency overnight it to get it fixed, and then so what we're going to do is we're going to do the bracelets. So the bracelets I'm looking at, if someone tries to pull on them and pull them off, it'll show a void on it, that they've been tampered with, stretched, and pulled off. But if
Sure.
they break it, but you could shower with it, and I think that's probably the best way. You show your bracelet, you got it, you're good to go. Um, for fast track through, like the deputy early access, just having your print off with your barcode, we'll scan it at the door and you'll be checked in, and you're good to go. And I think, when you buy your tickets, print print your your barcode, print it off. We need you to bring the barcode, and then we'll scan the barcode. This way we keep the line going. I think that's another way of mitigating, because there was people that are having problems finding it, and they come up to the front desk to get their badges, and that's where they're going through their emails, and that kind of slowed the line down. So we want to mitigate that. So print off your receipt, which will have the barcode. Just hand that in. We scan it. We'll put the wrist thing on you, and you're good to
You're good to
go.
go. Good to
Good to
go.
go.
Now, let me ask you something, Kenny, regarding some people that are smokers,
Oh
regarding the Monster Ball or anywhere in that museum facility,
no.
not even out
Okay.
in the courtyard.
That's a good question. I'm gonna write that down outside in the courtyard. I will. I will. Let's go. Let me. All right, smokers. I will get that answer. Um, I think I'm going to say you're a smoker.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Um, I will find out if we could set up. I think we could set up a designated smoking area. I'm sure there's got to be. Um,
Yeah, I'm really asking for those that do smoke. Certainly not
yeah,
myself.
we'll set something up. I don't think they'll have a problem. They're being very very good with me. So Um, let me get a final answer on that, but I'm pretty sure we'll set something up. We'll set something up for the smokers.
And I know we talked about this on the last live, but would you mention it again for those that are watching now regarding parking?
Yeah. So I will have an area where there's going to be limited parking, but there's going to be parking. I'm not utilizing that area where the event is. Um, it's a very huge area. I'm going to leave a section of that land open for parking. Um, and and there will the city did turn around and ex- e- expand their existing main parking. There is parking throughout the city. You just gotta find it. I mean, it's there. I don't think I'm going to tell you one thing about the mayor. I don't think he's one to mess with the tourists. As far as hey, this guy's parked kind of. I mean, if you're in front of a fire hydrant, you deserve to get your car towed. But I don't think he's going to mess with you too much. I think they're going to be fine. I mean, I've seen cars parked kind of weird that are like so obvious and they don't do anything about it. So, but I will, I, I will make sure that everyone is aware that we're going to have a lot of people there that need to find places to park.
No.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God, I just forgot about this. Oh, yes. Actually, the parking isn't a problem. All right. So I just realized this. All right.
The
So
property.
the old school
Okay.
that we had, the old high school, um, we have a new high school. So the old high school's been for sale for so long. Owners bought it. They're going to do something with it, and they've leased the football field to the city, and the city's using it for parking, and it's huge. So with that, what you find at their one site for parking and then my site that I'm going to have for parking, I don't think anybody's going to have a problem. So I just remember that. I don't know why I didn't, you know,
All
that's
right.
fairly
Listen,
new. Yeah.
one other question. A lot of people there in a very small town. What about bathroom facilities?
So you've got all right. So there are the city has two main bathroom facilities. Now, keeping in mind, Tombstone's really not it's a city, but it's not. It's like a town. So you can literally start walking one at one end, blink, and you're at the other end.
Yeah.
So at one end, you've got, public facilities. At the other end, we have a park. And in the park is public facilities there. I'm looking at some porta potty setups down at the arena as well. And I'm getting with the owners of the property to see what they do during bull riding. And speaking of bull riding, um, I'm having them bring bull riding in for Friday. It wasn't scheduled, but I'm asking them to I'm putting together my own bull riding during the event.
So can I
So
ride a bull, Kenny? Can I go in and ride
that
a bull?
that's included in the the main ticket. So that's
Okay.
included.
All right.
And and it is, the seating, I think they can hold like 1,000 or 1,200, and it is first come serve seating. So it's just like going into an event, Comic-Con or something, and they say, hey, panel seating is first come first serve. So but we'll have a schedule with everything, and then in between when they're changing out bulls and stuff, we're going to have three intermissions. We're going to have Joey Dillon perform, then we're going to have Anthony DeLonges perform, and then at the end, when it's dark out, we're also shifting the bull riding to later in the evening so that at night Luke Rollins could set his stuff on fire and do his whips and his lasso and stuff.
Uh,
So
a quick question here, Kenny. Mad Shaggy, which is familiar, is asking any trick or treat type events,
hmm. you know
like maybe for the younger crowd, the kids that are with the parents, or anything like that.
I
And
have
maybe
to
even for this or the older kids that like a lot of candy. I don't know.
That's a great question. I'm going to put that down because Let me put that down. So, uh, we usually have like a parade. I forget what day it is. It's usually not on Halloween, where the fire department goes down and they'll throw candy out to everybody. I'll have to find out what we can do for everybody. That's a good question. In fact, that's something I probably want to add to the event. Something to do with trick or treat. I mean, that's a great question. So I'm gonna find out what we could do for that. I added it to my list. Um, we do have haunted mines. Not that I'm changing the subject, but
Yes,
we do
yes,
have
yes. We
haunted
can't
mines.
forget that. Yep.
We do. I am working. Well, I've reached out to one of the guys that does the paranormal tours at night, and I've opened up dialogue with him. I know him. He's a friend of mine, and I'm trying to see what we can set up with them. And they basically take you around Tombstone to and show you around and everything. Um, I'm trying to
Something
think
like
what
a
else.
personal tour.
Yeah, so they do groups, and then you'll go around and they'll tell you about all the buildings and
Sure.
paranormal stuff, I guess. Um,
By, by the way, Kenny, say hello to Caius Harrison. He's watching.
no, yo Irish,
Yo, Irish.
yo Irish. Um, but yeah, no, that's a damn good question about the trick or treat. I actually gotta do something with that now because that it is Halloween. Um, yeah, I'll get back to
Okay.
you guys.
Also, let's see. JJ, 1998 says, would you ever possibly host this event at Apache Junction slash Goldfield and Mine in Arizona?
I was up there. I was talking to city people up that way and around there. I talked to them, Apache Junction area. I talked to, we just had something bad happen up there too recently. Anyways, um, Oatman, Jerome, Williamson, or Williams, different places because there's a lot of stuff up there. The only thing is now Apache Junction could handle they have the infrastructure. It's actually pretty cool at Apache Junction. So yeah, that is a possibility for a future event. Yeah.
And Catherine Colson says that Matt will be there.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah, just
Well, there you go.
thought I'd pass that along.
There's Matt. There's just Daniela. I reached out to Daniela, and again, I have to reiterate they're not obligated. This is something I'm inviting them. Except Caius Harrison, I'm making sure he has to be there. But this is their R&R time, and that's why I'm trying to just tell everybody, listen, this is just no, don't asking for autographs and photos and things like that. Just talk with them and have fun. Um, you know,
Anything else offhand that you can think of that you might not have mentioned on the
that's
last live that you'd want to bring up on this live?
that's what I'm looking at right now. I just want to make sure, like I covered the tickets, so you got that.
Oh, and by the way,
Um,
they go on sale Friday. Is that not correct?
Right, Friday. Hopefully everything works. I've been doing everything with the e-commerce site. So hopefully there's no if there's a delay, it will be up momentarily. It's just me trying to do everything at once. But tomorrow I'm going to be working out like some of the smaller details, how I'm going to handle the 50 and the $75 add-ons, putting that in there. And I think what it'll do is you just add everything before you throw it in the cart, and then your receipts will have barcodes on them. And I think that's how we're gonna do it. Same thing with the panel. Bring your ticket, print your ticket, barcode. We'll scan it at the door. It checks you in. Then that barcode's null and void. Then, right? So you're checked in. And let's see, what else do we have? Um, I mentioned, oh yeah, I did think I mentioned this the last time. We've got a psychic. person in town, crystal ball and tarot cards, everything. And I'm going to have her down there doing the whole Madame Nazar thing. And she'll be down in that area. Uh, let's see. We'll have, in addition to SAS, we're going to have more shooting up on Allen Street. There's you know, it's called something the Gulch, and you go inside. They've got, I think it's 6 lanes, real guns, wax bullets, and I'm going to give them the artwork. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to have um, targets that we're going to have custom made. That's going to be like from Undead Nightmare, Outlaws, and
Sure.
things like that. So I don't know what the pricing is with them. That's a separate thing. I'm just going to help them with getting the targets, getting them involved with the event. But so we're going to do these targets, and I'm supplying the prizes. And the targets will be characters from the game, zombies and
Yes.
stuff. And you
Right.
shoot. Um, uh, so the best scores of the weekend will win prizes.
Awesome.
And so I just got to figure out what kind of prizes we're going to do. And then, obviously I got to make them so that it entices people, like the other thing, the PlayStation and the Switches. And cosplay contest. We have a cosplay contest. Amanda Kaiser is my person that manager that handles that. We got the rules written up. We've got everything, and we're going to have that down at the arena. It's free to enter. You just got to fill out the form, and we're going to have that on the website with links to where you got to fill out and stuff.
Right.
And then we'll have prizes for that as well. And this should have an extra. Let's see. Let me just quick go through these things here. Artist Alley. I'm gonna have a tent where people can put their art, display it, and it'll be numbered so that people can vote what, which this one's the
Whatever art
best,
they
that
like
one's the
the
best. And we'll
best.
tally. Yeah, well, however typical voting goes for something like that, and then we'll have more prizes for that. And it gives the artist an opportunity to display their work. Because people ask me about that. Now, people had asked me, can they sell their art? Here's the thing. Um, I'm open to bring in vendors in that want to sell their art, but you're going to have to buy a table like all the other vendors, and that
Exactly.
I have. Yeah, it just is what it is. So we're finalizing the pricing on the tables. I
Yep.
will let everybody know. So if you've got stuff you want to sell, that I'm not talking bringing stuff you're buying from the dollar store and you want to sell it. You know, real vendor stuff, and you're gonna have to pay for the table for that weekend. And but I am allowing it now. Here's the thing. Someone comes down from the States, says, let's see your tax stuff. That's on you. Um, I don't think it'll be a problem, but just be aware that when you're selling, you're making money. Uncle Sam says, hey, what you got there? You know,
Kenny,
um,
we know that we know that Tombstone rather is Old West, and obviously all of these old Western towns had a lot of gambling
yep.
going on. Are you going to have any gambling there by chance for those that like to gamble?
All right. So I'm glad you asked that. So we have different places in town that have poker in the saloons and stuff on certain nights. And obviously we can't, you can't use money, can't do it. Uh, so, but it's for fun. And there's going to be a couple places I'm setting up. We're going to have a Texas Hold'em going on that one game with Texas Hold'em with zombies. We got that. So there's plenty of games going on. It's just the gaming commission's not going to allow money to exchange. So the prizes, like, all right, so the first year we had um, a card game. I had the card game going on with Dark Attic Games, and the winner of that got a kilogram bar of silver, real silver.
Awesome.
I'm gonna do something similar to that again this year, but there's no buy-in. We're gonna say, okay, we can handle 60 or 70 people, maybe more. You fill out a thing, you put your name in a hat. We pick the 60, 70 people, starting with the first however many we need to get the game started. When your chips are up, you're out. You're done. We call the next person on the ticket. You got 3 minutes to come down here and sit at the table. And we just keep doing that until the last man standing, and they're going to win whatever the prize is, silver, or whatever I'm going to do this year. There are places that will have card games going on. And I'm looking at putting a couple together for those that like to gamble. Unless you're looking at
Gotcha.
hard gambling, if you're looking at real gambling, we don't have that.
Okay.
We don't have that in
Well,
Tombstone.
I mean, I think most of us want to keep it for fun. We don't
Yeah.
want to
Okay.
be going into this hardcore.
So
Might not
yes,
make it home if I do that.
you will have that. Yes.
Okay. Listen, also, what about memorabilia? Are you going to be having any memorabilia, T-shirts, whatever, hats?
Yeah, we're gonna do a couple different things. T-shirts is one. I'm looking at doing some leather stuff to have like leather keychains.
Oh yeah, very nice.
Yeah, yeah, something that people could take. Smaller stuff. Leather is very resilient to abrasion and breaking and stuff versus making wooden keychains and stuff. So we're looking at doing leather keychains and a couple other pieces of memorabilia stuff that will be in the merch tent. And yeah, you can buy those. Yep, we will have that.
Awesome. That sounds good. Well, let's see if anybody has any questions up here. I don't see any. Yeah, One-Eyed Jack was saying he hoped that there would be some fast travel to get on out that way. Uh,
And we got mm,
okay. Um,
we will have food vendors and as well.
oh, you and I had one time spoke about the possibility of maybe a tattoo artist there.
Yeah.
Has anything developed with that
Yeah,
at all, or
I've
is
reached,
that is that a
yeah.
problem with the state and the health administration and all?
Well, the thing is we have a tattoo parlor, and I have reached out to them to have something simple, easy to do, that's themed for Red Dead that can be
Sure.
done, um, you know, during the weekend. I can't have them at down in the arena area because of health reasons. All that has to be done at their building, which is right there. You walk across the street from the arena, they're right there. Um,
Bingo.
yeah. So yeah. Um, so
Because
yeah.
there
So
are
I
a lot
reached
of people that would like to that are into tattoos that would like to get a Red Dead tattoo of some sort
yeah.
that might be inexpensive but yet quick.
Yeah. And we're, right now we're hitting all of the stuff hard, getting it set up as far as I'm working with the merchants and going up and down and still just staying in communication with them, coordinating things. And so you're going to see a lot of stuff progressing here in the next few weeks. Yep.
And that'll be on your website, of course.
Yeah. Yep. That'll be on the website. And the artwork, um, the artwork hit another uh, break
Oh no.
stops
Oh,
because I'm waiting on someone else to
gotcha.
sign a contract.
What about the possibility of purchasing T-shirts early?
I would like to. I think I did that at Deadwood, and it was successful. People would bring their receipts with, and we'd give them their. We'd have the merchandise set aside. There were some people, and I have to bring this up, that were, uh, and there's only a couple that said they had problems with getting their merchandise, and I know it's out there, and I want to address that. Their credit cards didn't go through; they were denied. So uh, that's it.
Make
That's really all there
sure
is.
you use a valid credit card.
And there was people that had tried their cards multiple times and they were denied multiple times. I have some people's shirts that were sent back because the address was not valid, or and I've emailed them. So everybody that legitimately has shirts, there's only a couple. They're here. They're still in the mail envelopes from being sent back, and
Gotcha.
but yeah, but I think selling in advance, and then you bring your receipt, and your order's already ready for you. We need your name. We go into the orders that are put aside, give your stuff, and you're good to go. But yeah, we will have T-shirts. I still have. I think uh, I'm pretty sure the T-shirts from last year are still up there. If anyone's still looking for those, we'll have
Blackfield's
those. Any
Redemption.
left?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have any leftover T-shirts from last year. I have a few Tombstone ones, not a lot. Those sold out pretty much, but I do have a few Tombstone Redemption T-shirts. I'll have those as well, for anyone that missed out the first time around.
First time
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
Yep. And but yeah, no, and if people do buy T-shirts, and they want to mail to them, any anything that's got to be mailed out is going to happen after the event. So when we're done with the event, we'll then address those orders that need to be shipped out. We're going to concentrate on the T-shirts that need to be picked up here when people are getting their wristbands and stuff.
Regarding the panel, Kenny, what is the location of the panel? What's that going to look like as far as
Oh,
the setup goes?
that's another good question. I'm glad. See, that's why I'm glad you're doing this with me. All right, so I have two locations,
Oh,
and I I'm torn between these two locations. All right, so the first location is this. So it's the OK Corral. You go in the OK Corral. If you go online, look up OK Corral, you'll see the big livery doors. Uh,
yes.
okay, you'll be going in through one of them doors. We'll have one open. You go through there, and then you'll have the blacksmith as you come in. There's the blacksmith. If you're looking from the top, let's say the top, here's Allen Street, here's OK Corral. You come in through the livery door, here's the blacksmith, and then these are all the stables, all these.
Okay.
So the actors are going to be in on their, sitting in their tables, all in front of the stables, so
Okay.
that when you photograph with them, you've got the stables behind you to get in, your picture. And so behind, again, here's the OK Crowd, here's the entrance to the livery. Over here, down here, there's a little walk path to go back here. There's the arena where they do their gunfights. And they have gunfight shows at the OK Corral. They have stadium seating, and I believe they said somewhere around 230 to 250 people they can sit. So, but it's stadium seating. And that's actually behind the actors. So when the actors are autographing, you guys are standing there, you're going to hear gunfire going off in the background. So here you are in Tombstone. You got these old stables there with all these period real stagecoach, or not stagecoaches, but coaches and stuff, wagons. You got a blacksmith who's going to be making things for the event that you guys can buy from him, a real blacksmith. And you're going to hear gunfire going off, periodic gunfire that, so it's got the ambiance, going on. That's where and it's easier because the actors are right there. So when we need to do the panel, they just need to get up and walk behind, behind the stables, and that's where they need to go, to get ready for the panel. And then when they're done with the panel, they just walk right back out, and it's easier versus me having to put them in a bus and take them a
Transport them, sure.
couple blocks away. Now, for you guys, it's walking distance. For them to have all the actors walking, I don't want to do that. I'd have to still put them in transport, take a couple blocks away to another location that just happened. So Tombstone had a hotel called Tombstone Hotel on Fremont, and it was, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. A new owner bought it, and they call it In History now. In History Tombstone. This owner is dumping a serious amount of money into renovating this thing. I'm talking beautiful suites, beautiful rooms, very affordable prices. And he just dumped a ton of crazy money into an event center, Adobe building. They're
Wow.
saying it's going to be done by the time my event's around. I actually thought about there too for the panel. And so it's good
Or maybe a
possibility,
mixture.
but
Maybe a
maybe a
mixture.
mixture.
Sure.
But I just the whole point was to try and keep everybody on Allen Street or the arena and away from Fremont. Fremont's our highway that goes through Tombstone, and I don't want people walking up there unless they have to,
Sure.
uh,
Yeah.
from the traffic and shit. So,
I gotcha. I gotcha.
but
That feels good.
um, I want to say something. I think we touched on this. I'm not sure if Matt's still listening, but so Matt, his character is Albert Mason, and the photographer. That side mission. It's a great side
Oh,
missions with
yeah.
him. Fun. So the last in Deadwood, he brought a vintage camera. It looks exactly like the one he had in the game, and he had his this hat on. I mean, he played the part. I mean, he was really fun to be around. Um, we were talking about this group photo. So we're still working on this, but so what it's going to be is fans will have an opportunity to buy a photo package. So obviously, if you want all of the autographs from all the attending cast, we're going to have a flat rate, or excuse me, a photo with all of the attending attending cast. Um, we're going to have a flat rate, so because they got to get paid, right? So we have
Sure.
this, except Caius Harrison, we don't need to pay him. So we'll have this photo where we're going to do it at a certain time. Fans that buy this package will line up, and we'll have, here's the lineup of the actors. Then here's Albert Mason with his camera getting ready to take a picture of the group. And then we have one fan at a time come out, get in the photo in the center with everybody. And then our real photographers over here taking a kind of like a 3/4 whatever
A
photo.
picture of an individual taking a picture of you.
Right, right. And then you have that photo, never done before. This would be the first time, never done before. You take that, and you can use that to get your autographs, and put on there.
And just
And
stack
I know,
those autographs up.
yep. And so that's what we're planning. So I got to have a photographer there that will, if we do it, say on a Friday, we can print those off and have them ready for Saturday or whatever. Um,
Sure.
you know, but that's the plan for that. So I think if there's anything else
But
here, yeah. Um, I think that's covering it right now for most part, unless you got, you know, we'll have we'll have the Rangers down at the arena. They'll have the Ranger outpost. It'll have a period looking tent for them where they can keep an eye on everything overnight because they're going to be there. And then we're building a replica corral for their horses because the horses will be there all weekend long as well for
Sure.
their mounted patrols. So they'll be
So,
mounted Arizona Rangers
so you'll have
patrolling.
some on foot and some on horseback.
Yeah, they have a uniform, they have to make sure that people recognize them. But on the mounted patrol, I did get everybody to keep their tan uniforms because they switch out during the colder months. They go to black, and I did get them to keep their tan uniforms. But the mounted patrol they will be in jeans and their upper part of their uniform and just to kind of give it a little bit more, themed. I can't I
I got
can't have them in period clothing because then nobody would know who they are. They're
that.
you know
Now, will the fans be able to have pictures taken with them if they chose?
yeah. Oh yeah, they do
So
that
the
all the
Rangers
time. So yep,
won't be opposed to having their picture
not
taken.
at all, not at
And
all. And
go ahead.
so one of the things I'm doing for the Rangers this year to help them because of what they're doing for me, they do have the state's museum for the Arizona Rangers is on one of the side streets in Tombstone. And you can go in there and see the history of the Arizona Rangers and what they did uh, back then and what their role is today. And so the last time what I did for them to help them out was I donated a PlayStation, and they raffled it off, and that helped them, raise some
Sure.
money. This year, I'm gonna have period guns for people that are adult that can enter into some of these raffles. I'm gonna have at this point, hopefully, if everything goes well, a Henry rifle. And I'm not talking like a garbage one. I'm talking the original Henry rifle, the first repeating lever action with the octagon barrel, the really long barrel. Um, and that is going to be what I'm going to donate to the Rangers to raffle off. Then I'm going to have a couple of single action 4 3/4 45 long Colt revolvers and 5.5 inch 45 long Colt revolvers
Yep.
that you guys can enter in and
Raffles are always
yeah,
enjoyable, especially if you win.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Listen, Catherine over here, Catherine Colson, she basically says green bananas for the O'Driscolls would be cool. Probably for a tattoo, I think she's referring to. And trick or treat sounds like fun. One Eye Jack says you should have an In-N-Out burger, be a food vendor there.
In-N-Out burger.
Yeah, well, anyway, some of these are really pretty funny. I got to tell you. Kind
Yeah,
of like the Disney wristband is what Catherine Colson is saying, and I think that's
yeah,
what you were referring to
yeah.
when you talked about the wristband instead
Oh
of the
yeah.
bag.
If you mess with it, if you try and stretch it, it's done.
Yeah.
Um,
And let's see, Mad Shaggy says, you've really set the tone for this one this year. And I think that that's a good thing. And Mad Shaggy he's actually referring to the possibility of a free tattoo or something that you can win. Throw a dart and that's the tattoo that you get. That's something to think about that you might be able to
right.
develop.
Mm,
Any kind of crazy little games like that people can get involved in, creates a lot of laughs and a lot of fun memories.
yeah.
No doubt about that.
Um,
What about the local lodging? How's that going these days?
Well, I'm going to tell you, after personally looking at what in history, INN history, Tombstone Hotel, it's on Fremont. You got it. It that's a place to go. That is the place to go. It's freaking beautiful. They've only got a few suites, but man, I'm telling you, it is the place to be. Right now, they are the new sheriff in town. The owner, he's in it for the long haul. There's no way he didn't dump like serious money into renovating this entire place and to put an event center in. That is something Tombstone needs. As a tourist town, sole economy is tourism. Yet we needed an event center. We got an event center thanks to this guy. So if you guys are still looking for lodging, that's where you need to start first. And then
Awesome.
from there, go to the Grand Hotel. Now the Grand Hotel, they're off on a highway, so you're going to need transportation. I wouldn't walk that. Um, at night. I mean, we're in the middle of the desert. I wouldn't be walking on that at night. But in history, Tombstone, that's the first place I'd send you. Um, and then other places that I'll have more information. I'm going to post a section on the website, but in history, Tombstone, the Grand Hotel. We got a few others in there, but I mean, if you're having problems, Sierra Vista, that's about 23 to 25 miles away. I think I was talking to somebody. I'm not sure if it was you were hanging out in Sierra Vista.
Yeah,
There's
that's where I'll be
Biz.
staying,
Yeah.
Sierra Vista, the
Yep.
Clarion.
Sierra Vista's got, all of the basic, Burger King, and McDonald's and Taco Bell, and they just put in a brand new Taco Bell. It'll definitely be open by the time the event. But they got restaurants and things like that. If you want culture like that, I can't free spirited kind of culture, 70s Bisbee.
Yeah, yeah.
Bisbee is a beautiful place and I love it. And they have really cool restaurants and stuff, and they've got hotels there that are awesome. But
What about
plenty of
what
places.
about what about any nightlife in Tombstone after hours? Just a question I thought I'd throw out there, Kenny.
My wife is probably washing this right now, laughing her butt off. All right, so Tombstone nightlife. Well,
There
um,
is none, is what you're saying.
we live in the middle of the desert. Things close at 5 o'clock. Except during this event, we're going to try and get a lot of these merchants to stay open. But as far
Okay.
as the nightlife, all right. So, all right. If you're looking for a really cool, fun place to hang, you want food, um, um, Big Nose Kate's. Big Nose Kate's is that's got fun atmosphere. They have music going on, and they got the ambiance, and that's probably the first place I'd say to go for good food. They've got a bar. They've got just it's really cool and it's fun. That's
Awesome.
probably where I would send this crowd to. They also own the Longhorn. So if you want an amazing breakfast, the Longhorn is the place to go. They got a wonderful cowboy skillet. I love it. I have it all the time. Um, that's if you're in town. But as far as a nightlife, it's limited to bars. Now, here's my thing about bars. Just stay away from them. Stay away from too many some of these saloons because we do get outside bikers and stuff. Nothing against bikers. I have a Harley, but when you get a lot of people drinking, I'd rather not have really good people going in there
Sure.
and things happen. It's not just don't do it. If you need a
Well, I had
drink,
to ask that
yeah.
question for the night owls.
Nightlife, there is the Four Deuces. They have they usually have bands on the weekends. Four Deuces, it's a bar, but they have food and that's pretty cool. I love listen. Every now and then we walk by there. They have really cool bands going. There are a few places, and I think what I'll do is ultimately put a list down of for people that are night owls that want to go and have fun, safe areas that I would say. I'm not
Sure.
saying Tombstone's bad or anything. I'm just saying people drink, and every town's got locals, and
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? And it's like it doesn't take much to, set someone off. And hey, that's been my seat for 10 years now, and you're sitting in my seat, and now I'm here to drink. Get out of my. We had
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Let's see. I can't think of anything else that we need to talk about, Kenny, unless you can
um,
come up with something.
I'm trying to. I mean, there's not much. You really can't see this, but I mean, this is what I'm working on now, the map.
Yeah.
Now,
Yep.
this isn't the map, like the final map. This is a drone footage that shows like the area. Like here's the arena, and then you've got the camp area or the campsite area is right here, and then the ranger area, the EMS. Right here is all of SAS, and you'll see like the teepees, and then the tents. Now these, and then the
Oh, yeah.
fire pit,
Yeah.
and then the fire pit. This is not indicative of how many tents we're going to have. I mean, this is all going to be packed. Keeping in mind this whole area and this area is vendors and stuff. So this whole thing is going to be jamming, um, which is yeah, it's
Medical
going to be.
services, if anybody needs it for one reason or another. Do you have any of that out there that
Yeah.
some
Yep.
of the older people like myself might?
Right in red. They will have a whole tent like and it's going to be period tents, but they'll be marked, and we'll have a they have the only route, the road that comes in and out, the only one. So their vehicle is going to be the only one by there because we're not going to have any vehicles driving in there.
Okay.
So they are going to be right near the road, so that's easy egress, and we'll have a tent there. We'll have water in there in case somebody gets dehydrated. But I do say, guys, when you come out, again, we're in Tombstone. Our humidity is not like other parts of the country. When you get here, drink water. Even if you feel like, oh, it's cold outside or it's cool outside, it's not that hot. Drink the water. I mean, just drink it. Um, believe me, it's if you're not here and you get acclimated to the weather, it can definitely create nobody wants to get sick while they're on vacation,
God's sakes, no. You're right. Nobody
so
wants to.
just drink water, and don't be sitting and standing in line with sodas. Have water. Now, getting on that about the line, I will have people going up and down that will be offering different things so that if you want some snacks or something because you don't want to get out of line, we will accommodate you with somebody going up and down to make sure um, you have things that you can buy that kind of keep you going. And
Which
then
reminds me, maybe you can mention it one more time regarding the time limit that people are going to have with the actors for signatures, photographs, etc.
yeah, so we have the wrap it up box. We literally had this, and what it is it's a plastic box. It's not big. It's the handlers. You'll approach the table. Now, we're not going to mess with you and say the second you get to the table, we're going to start the light. We're going to You're going to get to the table. You should know what you want. You should pretty much know what you're going to buy. Your first thing is to meet the handler, look at what you want, pick what you want, and make your purchases. That's your first thing to do. Once that money's exchanged, that button's going to get pressed, and your light is green. You've got 3 minutes to converse with the actor, to get your photos with the actors, and then it's going to turn red. and then once it turns red, you're now moving on to the next actor. What I've done is, and this is just from my observations, from Deadwood. And again, and I have to be very clear, my first priority is to the fans in those lines and how long they've waited. This is
Absolutely.
very critical. So everything I've done or I'm doing is for you guys, because the one that's been waiting the longest would probably have the most say about, you know, the line. So what I want to do is take the blame. If people are mad, be mad at me. I created the box. Be mad at me. The actor has no, you can't be mad at the actor. I take it away from the actor. You can't be mad at the handler because the handler's doing what I'm telling them to do.
Sure.
Be mad at this box, this inanimate object that is now controlling the time. We're
Yeah.
going to wait until the money's exchanged. You know what you want. You've exchanged the money. Then we hit the light. That's 3 minutes of communication with each actor. I think that's more than fair considering the amount of people that will come, you know.
And I got to tell you that 3 minutes, if you start, let's say that you ask your spouse or a friend a question. 3 minutes is a long,
Yeah.
long time in communications when you're looking for an answer, when you're asking a question, whatever it might be. So
Yeah.
I think you're going to find that 3 minutes is more than enough time, and it certainly becomes respectful to all those people that were waiting in line back in Deadwood. And
Yeah.
this year they won't have that kind of a wait, and it's going to be much better. I am certain of that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the thing is you got actors, they're not going to tell the fans, hey, you got to move on. They love their fans, right? So they're going to keep talking to their fans. Um, but when, you got a line that's 11 hours long or 9 hours long, and I go and I look and I'm timing and I'm seeing, individuals that are talking to the same person for almost a half hour,
That's too
that's
much.
what's causing the problem, one of the problems. So I'm trying to mitigate that, and I think it's fair. I think 3 minutes is more than fair for each actor. And if everything goes well with everybody that I want, there's going to be 15 actors there. So you go in there, get what you want, get what you got to do. If you feel like you've got 3 days, right? But if you feel like you want to get the rest of the autographs, Sunday or Saturday or whatever, you can break it up, but you still got to wait in line unless you buy that fast track, which will help with that. But once you're in that room, get what you got to get
Take
from
care of
each
business.
individual. Take care of business and
Yep.
and enjoy the rest of the show, and that's it.
And I got to tell you, enjoy the rest of the show. People are going to be so busy moving from one area to the next, taking in this kind of an event and that kind of an event, and doing pictures and autographs and listening to panels and so on and so forth. It's going to be a busy, busy 3 days.
Yeah. Like I said, we've included a lot more this year. Um, and like I said, the artwork the artwork's on hold again because, and again, realistically, the artwork is I'm primarily want it because I want it for the t-shirts,
Yeah.
and now I'm waiting for someone else to sign on the dotted line because that is important. And you'll see if it happens. You'll see. Well, if it doesn't happen, I'll tell you anyways. But you'll see what I mean and the importance, the significance of waiting for that. So it's going to be good. The artwork is it's pretty cool.
Now, I got to tell you, for a guy my age out there at Deadwood, it was either walking uphill or walking downhill. It's going to be a pleasure this year to be on flat ground.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's flat. It's flat. It's flat. It's
I hear you.
flat. Yeah, it's like it was a culture shock when we moved here, for sure. Coming from a city area and stuff, um, but it's pretty much flat. I'm trying to think if there was something else um, is there any other questions that you got?
I
Looking
don't
into?
see any out here. I don't see any out here. Although Jay Shredder says that all of a sudden he wants to go to the bar in Tombstone. So maybe that bar in Tombstone will bring him down from Minnesota.
You know, oh, there is a place that I'm working out something with, and it's the Undertaker's espresso shop or something.
I
They
don't
make
want to talk about
coffees.
that, Kenny. I don't want to talk about any Undertakers.
Oh, okay. They they have an
I'm just
express.
kidding. That's based on my age, of course, but I'm just kidding.
They have an
Hey, you go ahead
espresso.
and talk about the Undertakers all you want.
They have
They
an
don't scare me one bit.
they have an espresso shop, and so I'm trying to.
Espresso shop.
Yeah,
I love
they
it.
got some really good drinks, man. Really good drinks, coffee, spray, all kinds of stuff. And they're trying to work out some little snacks or something to have in their cafe. But yeah,
Coffin
it's called the
shaped.
Undertakers.
Coffin
Yeah.
shaped.
So it's called the Undertaker's Espresso Bar, I think, Espresso Bar. Um, the ice cream we're gonna do a custom color, a custom flavor again, and there is gonna have like green zombies or eyeballs on the top, you know, that represent the
Sure.
undead nightmare element. Um, and there,
Maybe a little red in it for the blood that's been shed.
yeah, and then yeah, some really cool. There's a lot. I mean, there's stuff I can't say now because I'm still working on it. But at least now everybody knows the tickets. They know what the Monster Ball Bash is going to be fun. That I think that's the highlight of the Halloween aspect of this. And then we're still working on the haunted minds, how we're going to do that as far as
Sure.
groups and whatnot.
Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah,
I don't have any other questions here that's on the screen here, Kenny.
okay.
Uh, let's see. All right. Catherine says she booked the in history.
Oh, she won't be disappointed.
Yeah, Catherine, yeah, you heard it yourself. My room doesn't have a refrigerator, so I need somewhere to go and get a cold one, she says.
I don't know. I don't know what is the Kathleen is the does it say it doesn't have a refrigerator? Because I know there's ones that are like kind of theme suites. I wasn't sure if they all had fridges in them or not, but she's not going to be disappointed. The rooms that they're redoing everything. It's really nice.
I'm sure. Hey, listen, one last question that I have. How long is the panel going to be, Kenny? For those that are out there that don't know,
Yeah.
is it going to be
So
a 1 hour panel? Is it going to be a 90-minute
I
panel?
think the best way to put it is 90 minutes or 60 minutes, but no more than 90. That's the other thing. I have to get back with the OK Corral, meet with them face to face, and say
Okay.
how much time it takes for the gunfighters. Because here's the thing: the OK Corral wants to increase their shows, how many shows they have per day, so that everyone has an opportunity to see one of their shows. In between the shows, we have to quick rush out there, get the seating set up for the actors, get prepped, and then after the event, again, rush, break it down so it's ready for the next
Right.
show. But I would say at least 60 minutes, no more than 90 minutes. And it's gonna be good, Warren, because a lot of these are new people. I mean, and they've never been interviewed. They've never gone to done these events. You got, you got Irish, you got Jack Marston, and
Yeah.
really cool
I
ones.
mean,
Really
Jack
cool.
Marston, the only one that really survived Red
Yep,
Dead. Yep.
yep.
That's amazing.
So,
Going to be amazing.
good stuff, and it'll be fun this year because it's more themed for Undead Nightmare. It's more Halloween themed,
I think
but
it's going to be a real rush. I think it's going to be
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I can't help but believe that, for sure. Now,
Yeah,
I wasn't at the first Tombstone, but I certainly was at Deadwood. Compliments of my stream followers,
yeah,
and that was a great time. Great time for me.
yeah.
The
It
only
was.
thing that I hated, I loved driving out there,
Yeah.
and I loved being there. I really didn't want to have to drive back home because it was
Mm,
2,000 miles away. The
yep.
fun was over. I just wished that I could have transported myself there, but that's just
Yeah.
not the way it is. But this year, I'm bringing my wife, Lace and Pistols, with me,
Yeah.
so we plan on having a great time.
Yeah. My wife and I drove to Deadwood as well because we had the trailer with everything. That was not on the way back. We took, I think it was almost 4 days. I just said, you know what? I'm only driving 500 to 600 miles, and that's it.
That's
I'm
it. Yeah,
stopping. We're gonna chill out, get dinner, nice hotel, and then continue on. And that's what we did. Yeah, I
yeah.
I wasn't looking forward to that long drive, but
I'm
yeah,
sure that made it much
it
easier
made
and
it
more
easier. Yeah,
relaxing. Yeah,
yeah, more
yeah.
relaxing. And but the first event, it was more based on autographs only,
Hmm.
pretty much. I mean, I had stuff throughout the city, but nothing, like one big focal point I had between the Crystal Palace and the Oriental Saloon was um, the Outlaw Waterhole, and that was wine tasting and cheese. And what I found out was this isn't a real drinking crowd. So
It isn't. You're right.
it isn't. So that didn't make really anything. And not, I didn't make any money. It was, I brought in a local wine makers. I mean, they have their own fields here, and that's their own company. And I convinced them to come in and do this wine stuff. And I called it the Outlaw Watering Hole. And, I said, I did all of the aesthetic stuff, but really they brought the wine, and it did okay, but this wasn't a wine. This isn't a drinking crowd. So
It's
we
not a drinking crowd. Yeah.
learned from that. I mean, we did have some axe throwing. We did have the zip line. We did have the fast draw down the street, and that was it. We didn't have as much. Deadwood, I added a few more things. I wanted to do horseshoe campsite. And I know there was a lot of people that were disappointed that I wasn't able to do the whole thing. But again, it comes down to uh, how many people buy tickets, because that's what, you know, keeps
That's what
buying
fuels
this stuff,
everything.
fuels
Yes.
everything. What the other thing is SAS. We
Yes.
had to cut down their layout by at least half because we didn't have the room for everything.
You're right.
I I was limited to how much space between the tents, how much space in the open area where the in the outlaw square where the all the show the stuff was happening. We only had Joey Dillon, Luke Rollins, and we had Chief Star Eagle. So we had to compact everything right there. So I couldn't do everything I wanted to do through one, we didn't have the space, and two, there just wasn't enough money. And then we had GameStop pull out at the last minute because if you remember, I was going to have GameStop and we were going to do a
Yeah.
tournament, and they pulled out, and so we ended up having another card game in that other tent. So I know people were disappointed in that, and I understand that, but it's like, this is still growing. But I assure you, this year we're 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 throwing a lot of stuff in there,
This is the
and
one to be at.
this is the one to be at. Yeah,
Yeah. That's great. I'm certainly looking forward to it.
yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I just recently extended my stay out there by 2 more days. So
Ah, cool,
uh, it ought to be a lot of fun. It ought to be a
cool.
lot of fun. I'm all over the Southwest because of the love and interest that I have for anything Western since I was 3, 4 years old.
Yeah,
So it's a pleasure to get back out there again. So
nice, nice.
yeah, hope to have a lot of fun. I know I will. And
Cool.
if I'm not, it's only because I'm not allowing myself.
Yeah.
Because my stream will tell you that when I get going, I can get wound up a little bit and have some fun. So,
Oh,
and
there,
hopefully, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just remembered something. You asked me before about some new stuff. What's going on? There is actually something new.
Oh,
I don't
go
know.
ahead.
I don't know if I mentioned this or not. So, all right. So we do have surviving relatives in the area. We've got Ike Clanton. If you
Okay,
know, you
I
know
know Ike Clanton.
Ike
Yep.
Clanton. Okay. Well, Terry Ike Clanton has a haunted house up on Allen Street.
Oh,
It's a sh-
wow.
he's got something haunted going on in there. It's a tour. You go through it. It's self-guided. You go through it and stuff. So I'm reaching out to him to do something with that because it is, themed for
Yeah.
Halloween. And I'm going to see if we can get Clanton to come out and, kind of participate in the fun over the weekend so you guys can actually get to meet a real surviving relative of the Clantons. Now, there is an ERP that is surviving. His name's Wyatt as well. And I forget how he's related to Wyatt, but um, I'm going to see if I can get him to come out just to chill out and have fun, and then have Clanton and Earp so that when you guys are up on Allen's, enjoying Tombstone, you can actually get to talk to some of the real surviving.
We'll have to keep them apart.
Yeah,
There may still
but
be some hard feelings.
yeah, I guess I don't know. I will tell you this. Ike's pretty cool. So Wyatt actually was one of the actors in the movie Tombstone with Kurt Russell. He was actually in that.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, and
So, and not only will you have some actors there from Red Dead, but you'll have some actors there from the Tombstone movie that are historically accurate and relatives of those that were actually there at the OK Corral.
yep, that's the plan. Yep. And
That's a
I
good one.
think having a relative of the Clantons will be kind of
I
cool,
think you will. Sure.
and he's got a business here, and it's a haunted building, a haunted some kind of I wish I can't remember what it's called. Um, but it's like a self-guided haunted tour.
So if I dressed up as Wyatt Earp and just kind of meandered on in there, tell them I'm looking for Ike,
Yeah,
there may be an issue going on.
yeah. But it's
Well,
pretty cool. His building's pretty nicely decorated. He actually does have a really nice building down
yeah,
there. Um, and he's got the kind of like the lanterns going. He's got a skeleton and in the front, but
does
yeah.
he have any old family pictures? Do you know?
I don't know. I can, I have some stuff written down. I'll ask him. Let's see,
They
Clinton
certainly should be hanging up in his establishment.
pictures. I wrote it down to like when I get a hold of him. I'm going to ask him if he's got some photos and stuff like that, you know, to bring with
That's
him.
great. That's great.
Yeah.
Anything
So
else you can think of, Kenny, by chance?
no, I think that's pretty much covers it. I mean, I'm going through everything here. Um, I think the biggest thing to talk about was the courthouse
Courthouse.
and the
Yeah.
Bill Elm doing the music and having catered food and it being a costume ball bash, kind of thing.
Tickets and
Um,
so on and so forth. Yeah.
yeah, and the tickets and stuff. And want to stress the photos with Albert Mason. We're gonna make that happen. We just gotta
That's going to be excellent.
do the
That's going to be
logistics.
really nice. That'll be a piece to have, really, to be able to get that picture, have some autographs on it, frame it, hang it on your wall or your game room wall or wherever it happens to be, and have a really nice piece right there from Tombstone Redemption 2.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Other than that, man, nothing else. That's it. That's the update.
All right. Well, everybody, you've heard it right here. You've heard it live. And all I can say is I'm going to be there in Tombstone. I hope to see you there in Tombstone. And this is going to be a kick-ass event. So let's get out there. Let's everybody get out there. Yeehaw!
Alrighty, guys. All right, now I got to figure out how to shut this off.